I wanted to ask about in retrospect, the Charlotte experience.
Mm-hmm.
You gave a quote. I have it written down, but I'll just kind of paraphrase. You gave a quote at some point about just how like people were saying your contract was one of the worst in the league. Your mentality sort of getting through that part of your life and then coming out the other side.
That was interesting, very tough as well. Because when I got there, I got 1 year left on my previous deal from the Blazers. We had a great year. Make the playoffs.
Yeah.
With no All-Stars. We have no All-Star. Kemba wasn't an All-Star yet. No All-Star. We made the playoff. We're like top 6 seed in the East. Lost first round again, 7 game against Miami. D-Wade was insane. But then I resigned there. I was like, okay, gonna feel great. I'm gonna resign there. And then my first year, my contract was great with Cliff. And my second year, my deal, I turned elbow ligament on my, first game of preseason, elbow, ligament, completely turned. And I was supposed to be out for 3-4 months, and I came back in less than 2.
Were you forcing your way back, or you just why was it so fast?
I mean, I kind of forced my way back. I felt the team needed me. I felt bad to be on the side, so I forced my way back a month earlier. And that kind of hurt me all year long. And I didn't play. I think the summer was free. Didn't have anything with the national team, and they cut Steve Clifford. Was my coach. I love that coach.
JJ loved him too. He's like it seems like everyone who's around that guy loved him.
I loved him. So they cut him, move on from him, and then we have a new coach, and that's the only time that happened in my career, and that happened sometime when the coach and the player don't get along.
Yeah.
Clearly we didn't get along. The way he viewed the game and the way I was playing the game, my game was, didn't match. I mean, that's pretty much what it was. So, and he wanted me to play a certain way. I'm like, okay, but that's pretty much the opposite of my game. And as me, I start staying in a way that was my fault too, because I put myself on the whole, I can't do that. So what you want me to do? Be a 3-and-D guy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I can be that. But at $25 million a year, I can't.
And how are you, having, at this point already, having been through both experiences in the league, but then also internationally, you've seen a lot at this point. So how are you sort of mentally managing all of this?
Oh, it was very tough. Especially my last year before COVID. I always say that. I think I'm the only guy who's happy COVID happened. Because it cut my season.
It was the break.
I needed that. I literally needed that though at that moment, just to go home and stay home and don't do anything. And I went on a big depression, huge. I gained crazy weight. I was overweight like crazy. My agent said, don't go outside. Don't show yourself for the next 2 months until you lose 30 to 40 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting to LA.
Yeah.
What about, besides a change of scenery, which can never sort of be, understated as a thing of importance for everybody. What about that kind of was able to bring you back, you feel like?
I always say that, but Ty Lue saved my career. He did. When I got waived, when Woj announced on Twitter, and I find out that way.
Did you really? There was no heads up? It was just
I was in France. And that's a true story. I was in France, so time difference. I was cleaning my living room and the toys with my son, we did to go to bed. And my phones popped out. Woj bumped, Nic Batum got waived, but that's what I find out.
They're nice business.
Thank you. So now it's funny because I'm like, okay, I'm going to retire. I pretty much thought I was done.
Yeah.
I'm like, who's going to want me though from that at that time? And my phone started ringing. And yes, of course, the team got the most interest for me was the Clippers. I got everybody on the phone, Kawhi, PG, Ty Lue, Loris Frank, Steve Ballmer, everybody. So, and I'm like, why not? Because I think our stories match at that time. The bubble stuff, my season. So I'm like, maybe get together.
And what about Ty Lue in particular? Even, you obviously had the experience this year as well, but at that point, what about him was so influential?
So the 2 years I had before that, awful. I was one number-wise, contract-wise, the worst player in the NBA. And I got there day one and literally told me, I don't give a F about what happened the last 2 years. You're going to play for me. You're going to start. And I started. I literally started game one.
And is this just him knowing?
He knew.
He just knew you.
Yeah, he knew me. He said, I know who you are. I know what you can bring to like, if I put you next to Kawhi and PG, I know what you can bring to that team.
Isn't it interesting? I'm curious if you talk to talk about Changing Senior, talk to other guys about this, about just how important this is, how important culture, fit, and just being right place at the right time is in terms of like, we're talking about this now, and you're at this point, 12-year veteran, and you need this confidence. This isn't 2 year into the league, no. Nick. This is a guy that's sort of seen a lot already, and so the importance of chasing that and making sure you're in that right situation and putting yourself in that right situation.
It was huge though. When I got there, I was like, okay, I'm going to do 1 year with a good team, chase a ring, and that's it. And I got there when they told me like, you're gonna play right away. And guys like, that was like Pat Bev, like PG, Kawhi, Zoo, Lou Will. I mean, there was guys, Rondo, like big names all around. Serge Ibaka too. So Chauncey Billups was the assistant coach. But also one guy was huge. Like after my first practice was Jerry West. Jerry like grabbed me by the shoulder, say, like he was very happy for me to be there with that team because he said we need a guy with IQ like you with this team. We want to be successful. So I mean, everybody like made me feel wanted after having like 2 very, very, very bad years. So
what did you learn about Kawhi as a teammate that you didn't know before?
I mean, you asked me like who's the hardest worker. I said Wes Matthews, but Kawhi is up there. Kawhi is up there. I mean, he's a robot for sure. I mean, no, he is. He is. I mean, one thing that shocked me is before shoot around. I mean, his pre-game stuff in shoot around, like we have pretty much the same shooting time.
Yeah.
So sometimes just watch him and just do the same exact shot, like the same spot, and it's just automatic. And then in the game, you take the exact same shot he just took like for an hour before practice. You just like know his game is insane.
He does have, I mean, he had it, in the game 2 this year. He's had it in the Dallas series a couple of years ago. He has these moments. We've said this in the show before. JJ used to say it when he would play against him, where he's very Jordan-esque. Where you look at what he's doing, and he's another one where you are like, he might as well be shooting in the gym by himself when
Pretty
he's
much.
like this. When you're playing with that, when that's happening, are you just kind of like, let me just get him the ball and get out of the way?
It's one of those guys, few guys, since I got to NBA the last 15 years, when sometimes you're going to give him the ball and like nothing's going to happen to you. We're going to win this game because he's fine. Like the Dallas series, like in 2021. And we down 3-2, game 6 at Dallas, but you could see it in his eyes like, we're going to be fine.
Was that the one where all the road teams won?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
yeah. We won at home game 7, but the game 6, like the way, I'm like, you could feel it. Like, I think everybody knew in the arena, like, okay,